Hey everyone, and welcome. So glad you're here. Today, we are going on a quest to find a kind of secret recipe. And no, we're not talking about cakes or cookies, but something way more important. The secret recipe for making rules that are actually good, fair, and that makes sense to everybody. So you ready? Let's jump in. Okay, let's start with the big one. What really makes a rule a good rule? I mean, think about it. We follow rules all the time at school, when we're playing games, at home. But what's the difference between a good rule and one that just feels kind of crummy? It's kind of like this. Imagine you're building a super awesome Lego set. What happens if the instructions, the rules, are all mixed up and confusing? Or maybe some pieces are just missing. The whole thing just falls apart, right? It's not fun at all. Well, the rules for our world work exactly the same way, and our first story shows us exactly why. For this one, we're going to travel all the way to India for a story about four brothers and a big house. And it shows us why maybe the most important thing about a good rule is that it's easy for everyone to understand. So get this. You've got four brothers, and they're all living together in a big family house. After a while, three of them decide to move out and let their oldest brother keep the house all to himself. And to make it totally fair, he pays each of them for their part of the house. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, apparently not for the tax collectors. They showed up and said, whoa, whoa, hold on a second. You guys used the wrong words. They said that because the brothers called it a release instead of a purchase. They had to pay a whole bunch of extra tax. They were just using all this confusing grown-up talk that didn't really have anything to do with what the family actually did. But when the whole thing went to court, the judges basically just smiled and said that this was all, well, a little silly. They made it official. The law should speak the same language that regular people do. If someone pays money for something, hey, guess what? It's a purchase. That's it. No extra tax needed. So that leaves us with a pretty interesting question, doesn't it? Do you think buying and releasing should mean the same thing if money changes hands? This story is awesome because it gives us our first ingredient for a good rule. It has to be clear. Okay, let's go find our next one. For our next story, we're heading to South Africa for a really powerful story about healing. And this one isn't just about rules. It's about choosing kindness and dignity, especially when it's really, really hard to do. See, after many, many years of really deep conflict and a lot of pain, the people of South Africa wanted to move forward. They had this incredible dream of building what they called a historic bridge, a bridge away from their difficult past and into a brand new, peaceful future for everybody. But to build that bridge, they had to answer a huge question, a really big one. Some people wanted to use the death penalty as a way to get even for all the terrible things that had happened. But a lot of others wondered, was there a different path, a better way to build their new country? And that different path, it actually had a name, Ubuntu. Now, this is just a beautiful idea. It's the belief that we are all connected to each other, that my humanity is tied up in your humanity, that we're really defined by our kindness and how we treat each other. And you know what? The judges chose Ubuntu. They decided that for the country to really truly heal, the government itself had to be a role model. It had to show everyone that all life is valuable by protecting every single person's right to life and dignity, no matter what they had done. So they chose understanding over revenge. And man, that leaves us with a really deep question to think about, doesn't it? Is it better to get even, or is it better to teach people that all life is valuable? And right there, that's our second ingredient for a good rule. It should be based on kindness and respect for everyone. All right, time for our last story. For our final story, let's head over to Kenya. This one is all about following the rules of the game and, well, we're going to think of it like a treasure hunt where the map is all messed up. Okay, so back in 2017, Kenya had this huge election to choose its next president. But there was a massive problem. The electronic system, let's call that the digital map they were using to count all the votes, it didn't match up with the official paper forms, the blueprints, that came from all the polling stations. The numbers were just all over the place. So the Supreme Court did something that shocked pretty much everyone. They didn't even try to guess who won. Instead, they just said the whole election didn't count. And why? Because the process, the map itself, was broken. They explained that the most important thing is that everybody follows the same fair rules. It's such a great way to think about it, right? I mean, would you follow a treasure map if it was missing all the important lines and landmarks? Of course not. You wouldn't be able to trust it. And Ding, ding, ding. That's our third ingredient. A good rule has to be followed by everyone every single step of the way. Okay, let's pause for a second. We've just heard 3 incredible stories from 3 totally different parts of the world. We had a family disagreement, a whole nation choosing peace, and a completely mixed up election. They seem so different, but together, they give us the secret recipe we've been looking for. So what is the secret recipe for a good rule? We asked that question at the very beginning, and now our stories from India, South Africa, and Kenya have given us the 3 main ingredients. It's time to put it all together. Here they are. Number 1, speak clearly, just like the judges did for the 4 brothers. Rules have to make sense to everybody. Number 2, choose kindness, inspired by that amazing idea of Ubuntu. Rules should protect everyone's dignity. And number 3, follow the map, just like in that election story. The process has to be fair, and everyone has to stick to it. Simple as that. And listen, these aren't just some big, complicated ideas for judges in faraway countries. No way. This is a recipe that we can all use every single day. Think about the rules in your classroom, or the rules for a game you play with your friends, or even just the rules you have in your own family. Which brings us to our last and maybe most important question of all. Using our secret recipe, speak clearly, choose kindness, and follow the map, what is one good rule that you can help create today? Thanks so much for exploring with me.